What's good, everyone? It's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at my Air Jordan 1 High 85s on how they're pretty beat up, but I'm going to give them a really nice deep clean, so you're going to come along for the ride on how these clean up with all of the dirt and grime on the outsole, midsole, and uppers. So without further ado, let's take a look at it. Alright, so as you can see right here, what I have and what I'm using to clean this pair, since it is leather, I do sometimes use Jason Mark on my suede pairs, but on all other shoes, I don't mind using just a regular soap because it does clean up very nicely in my opinion. But like I said, with this pair right here, I have worn these a ton, at least 500 hours through the last 3 months. They are super dingy and pretty beat up, and I am looking forward to seeing how these come back to life a little bit. With this leather upper and rubber cup sole, I think this should be a pretty easy clean. But again, what I'm using, I have a water here that's just used to rinse the brush after I've used the soap, and I just have a standard amount of Dawn soap here, like maybe half a tablespoon, and then I have another jar right here for the laces, where the laces will go in and sit and just kind of get rid of all of the dirt and grime that are sitting on the laces. As far as the brushes that I'll be using for the upper, this is the Jason Mark soft bristle brush. And then I just have a standard, more firm bristle brush right here from like Walmart that I use for the midsole and outsole on pairs of shoes. I know Jason Mark does sell their steel brush and a more firm brush, and I have had those in the past and they're not bad. But for the price that I paid for this, like $2 or $3, it works fine. I have an old towel underneath just to kind of prevent the water getting on the table. And then another towel right here to kind of dry the shoes off once I've cleaned them up. So without further ado, let's take out the laces and get them soaking in the water here on the table. So we're gonna do that really quickly. So now that I have the laces out, I am gonna douse them in this Pyrex bowl right here, or measuring cup, just to get the water soaked in on the laces and the soap to do its job to clean the laces. So we're gonna let those sit for 15 or 20 minutes and we'll get started on the shoes. So again, this pair right here has been pretty cooked as far as the overall use and wear and tear, so I am interested to see how they clean up. So again, the way I go about things is just grabbing this soft bristle brush, and I kind of douse it in the water where all the soap has been in for a good 5 minutes or so. And I basically just start getting to clean the midsole and the upper. I have one hand in the shoe, as you see right here, and then the other one just doing most of the work on the upper and on the midsole. I do have a bit of a clean here all the way around the shoe here. So come along with me and see how these clean up. So as you can see right now, I have swapped over to the stronger bristle brush on the bottom of the shoe to give these a really good scrub and to let the water and the suds from the soap do its job on this rubber here that can stain and turn yellow over time, but I'm going to try and bring it back to life as much as possible. So this will take a little bit of time, but definitely need to put a little bit of elbow grease into cleaning this pair right here. Clean a bit more of the midsole to make sure we get back as much of that white as possible, and the corners the outsole, and then just give the outsole a really solid scrub. Back one time. And then I will pop out the insole quickly as well and give it a little bit of a scrub. And then I take this blue cloth here, which the fibers are a little bit longer, and I'll give this insole a little wipe down, and I can already see it's a lot whiter than it was with just like a 30-second scrub. Obviously, if I spent a lot more time on it, it would probably look a lot better, but we'll grab the shoe now and give it a good wipe down and see how she's doing. Get right in where the tongue and top of the shoe meets there. And I'm gonna run to the washroom really quickly and just let some water kind of spray onto the outsole to get rid of all the bubbles in between the grooves, so just hang tight. So I just really quickly ran some water on the bottom of the shoe to kind of clean up the outsole right here. As you can see, they've cleaned up pretty nicely. As far as the bottoms, the midsoles are really nice and white again. And you don't have to buy the expensive stuff in store or online to clean your shoes, like especially when they're leather. I've been doing this for 25 years, cleaning my shoes with like Dawn soap. Nothing harmful in the soap typically for the leather, and it's gonna clean up really nicely. Like, look at these now. There's no dust, dirt, or grime on this pair at all. It's a little wet still, but give it another quick wipe. And this leather has held up really nicely with, again, like over 500 hours of use in the last 3 months. Just really putting a lot of time in this pair right here. I'll give you guys a quick 360-degree look, but these are looking really nice. The tongue was cleaned. It's still wet, so we'll let that dry. The inside of the shoe, sorry, doesn't need a ton of cleaning. It's pretty good still. So this is a look at the cleaned one right here. And then the left shoe is still rather dirty and grimy with all of the dirt, sorry. So we're gonna give this one a quick scrub and then we'll take a look at the shoes. The laces are sitting in this water right now. The water is turning grimy and dirty, so that's a good thing. The laces are getting nice and cleaned. So we will take our brush, put it in the clean water to kind of get rid of some of the dirt and grime. Just dab it here and then back in the soap to get the ball rolling again on this one. Hold out. And we're going to move on to the harder bristle brush for the midsole and outsole once again. Try and hit every spot on this midsole to get these as clean as possible. I think the outsole again is cleaned up pretty nicely. So we're gonna stop there. And we're gonna give the upper one more scrub, and then we'll do the other insole. Just circular motions, I find, do the trick. Hit the collars, back and the side. A lot of people are saying that the red on these bleed. I personally have not discovered that or dealt with that yet. I haven't seen any bleeding or fading of the red. So I think the brand did a really good job of kind of utilizing nice leather and whatever way they color the leather for it not to bleed like the Lost and Founds did. So give the midsole one more pass through. And we're gonna pat these down and get some more water rinsed through on the outsole. Let this sit for a minute. And again, I didn't do anything crazy on this one, but it's a little bit cleaner. Obviously I could use some baking soda or whatever to clean it up a bit more, but my foot's going right back in these eventually at least, so I'll give this one a quick pass through. And as well, you could use a razor with like two blades, like a shaving razor, the old school Bic ones, to clean up all the fuzzies and everything from your sock lint on this insole. But again, I'm going to be wearing these a ton. you could take that razor and just really gently run it across the material on the insole, and it would pull off all of those little sock fuzzies. But I don't think I'm going to concern myself too much with that. But again, give this a really quick pass through and wipe down as far as the insoles go. Looking decently white again. So the insoles I'm going to set aside to let them dry. And I'm going to give this outsole a quick rinse with water to get rid of all the bubbles in between the grooves, and a quick pat down. Alright, so the other shoe has been cleaned up and rinsed, the outsoles. Now for the laces, I typically like to pull them out, and if I'm over a sink or whatever, you know, it's been around 15 or 20 minutes now, I do like to kind of wring them out in my hand first. And then I run water through these, and then I individually take the laces, and with my fingers I pull tight and I get rid of all the soap and the excess water, so they'll dry a lot quicker. But I'll give them one more quick douse in the water with the soap. Alright, so the laces have been rinsed out. I like to pat them dry with the towel, kind of side to side. And then again, you can take the laces and just hold it at the top firmly, and then pull your fingers through them, and a little bit of water is coming out, as you can see right here, and that kind of lets them dry a little quicker. I'll do the other one really quickly. You can see the water kind of spilling out. And then I typically like to hang them over a chair or by something where they can hang over and dry quickly. So I'm going to do that now and let these dry. Alright, so with the shoes completely dry now and the insoles, they have dried very nicely, as you can see. I'm going to toss the insoles back in the shoes. Shoes are a little bit damp on the side still, but these will dry up over the next 20 minutes or so. But I will toss the insoles back in. So as you can see, insoles back in the shoes. And I do use spring-loaded shoe trees to kind of let the shoe maintain its original shape. So you slide that in to the toe, throw this in the back, and make sure it goes all the way to the front, and you can feel that shoe tree at the front of the shoe, and this just helps maintain its original shape and toe box. So as you can see right here, this pair has cleaned up super nicely. Again, it's a little bit damp. It'll dry over the next little bit. But I'm going to finish getting the other shoe trees in these guys right here, and I'll let them dry and just finish up, and we'll get another quick look at how these look after they've been cleaned up. In my opinion, these almost look brand new again. You can see the outsole has a little bit of dirt grime here at the forefoot, but overall, these are looking fantastic. Alright, so this is the finished product of the exact same pair that I started with at the beginning of the video. Honestly, the leather has held up amazing with this pair. I do want to mention one thing. This red leather on the inside of the shoe right here, it does have like a white liner. Now at the corners where the toe right here meets the liner, it did bleed a little bit onto that white material, like little red staining on the inside. But other than that, I didn't see any other issues with it bleeding or even wiping it off onto the towel where the red was transferring to the towel. So I think that's a really good thing with wearing these in a bunch of different weather. But honestly, the way the outsole cleaned up for the most part, obviously I could do a little bit of a better job with a steel brush. But again, these are going to get worn in the next couple days probably. The midsole is like a stark white again, and the upper just looks phenomenal as far as how these cleaned up, and I'm really happy with the way they're looking. This is the left shoe, and really quickly a look at the right shoe. More of the exact same white midsole and really clean upper right here. The toe box has its creases, that's normal, but the leather itself, there's no scratches, there's no peeling, no real issues with how these are looking here. Again, like 3 months of use, over 500 hours put into these guys right here. I think the brand did a pretty darn good job of the build quality of this retro. One of the best Air Jordan 1 retros to date. But like I said, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at Sneaker Tech Talk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video on how this pair right here has cleaned up with about 20 to 25 minutes of cleaning, and they look almost brand new again. Sound off in the comments what you guys think of this video and if you'd like to see more of this style of content. But as always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.